Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the pitch call of Skye Air. Thank you all, first of all, for joining us on a weekday evening. While we'll have some more folks joining us as we proceed, I think we'll get started. We have a few good set of folks who have joined. So yeah, I think we'll start with a quick intro. I think we have the founder of Skye Air, Ankit, as well here. So Skye Air is India's fastest autonomous drone logistics provider, delivering cutting-edge solutions across healthcare, e-commerce, quick commerce, agri, and beyond. A bunch of key highlights. They've done 1.2 million deliveries in financial year 24-25, powering 18% of Flipkart Gurgaon's volume, and partnered with multiple brands including Flipkart, Blue Dart, Ecom Express, DTDC, Blinkit, Big Basket, to name a few. They closed last year's revenue at 3.5 crore with upwards of 50% gross margins, and they've seen their monthly delivery scale over 8x from 23,000 in April 2024 to over 2 lakh in May 2025. They are backed by marquee investors like Chirate, Mount Judy, Sirius One, Let's Venture, Agility, Lead Angels, and Fard Capital, to name a few. So yeah, I think without further ado, I'll let Ankit take over and start sharing his screen to run us through Skyer.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks for having me here. Good afternoon, evening to all of you who have been joining us here. I have my colleague Viral also on the call here. We'll just quickly run you through what we are building and how that is super exciting in terms of changing the whole landscape of India and how this entire technology and the piece of vertical transportation ecosystem that we're sort of building out here is really translating things on ground and impacting people at a larger level. So very quickly, just sharing my screen out here. Um, Rohan, just give me a thumbs up if you're able to see the screen.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, perfect. Very quickly, just starting with my background, I'm a mechanical engineer, graduated in 2012, come from a family of bureaucrats. I'm the first generation into corporate and entrepreneurship. Started my career with Mahindra and Mahindra, was leading corporate institutional government sales initially in Eastern India and then further in the northeastern part of the country. Did that for 2.5 years, moved to Gurgaon, joined a boutique consulting firm called as CIBC at that point of time. Did around 50 odd, 48 to 50 odd transactions, including greenfield, brownfield, M&A, one M&A, couple of joint ventures, bringing in foreign MNCs to set up India operations. Worked with large automobile players to pulp and paper to FMCG players, some of them being falling under the Fortune 500 as well, helping them out in context of Indian market expansion, India-centric leading and sort of delivering different elements which were required from a consulting viewpoint that I was taking care of. 2016, I moved out. I started my own consulting firm, sort of focusing on sustainability and helping around companies again around the world to look into the aspects of developing things out here in India. Did that for about 3 years. Um, the entire thing moved, and I think it's more like connecting the dots which were happening for me. So my journey started with automobile, went to sustainability, which is clean tech. Worked with companies like SoftBank Energy, etc., in terms of helping them out with innovative technologies around the world, which can be utilized in independent solar power plants. Uh, to getting into electric vehicle space of helping companies in and outside of India in terms of looking into the transformation changes which was coming in India with respect to the electric mobility and the versions which was taking place here, from two-wheeler, three-wheeler electric buses to charging stations, battery cells, and multiple other aspects of things that I dealt with. And then drones happened to me where I started helping out a Japanese company to set up India operations by acquiring a company out here, which got me acquainted with the drone part of it. And that eventually led me to become a part of a drone stakeholders committee that was created by the government in terms of building the first policy in India. So I was one of those members who was in the initial part of the whole development of the entire ecosystem of drone and led to the policy development, etc., which came out in November of 2018, making drones a legal subject in India and sort of benchmarking and creating things alongside FAA and EASA and what kind of things India needs to do. That also further led me to look into the aspects of last mile logistics, where I saw tremendous amount of challenges, which is evolving and which is gonna only create the amount of disruption which is happening today. You have a lot of labor and scalability constraints coming from the infrastructure challenges and the pressure on infrastructure, which is massive and growing and growing. Talking about 2019, when I went and formed the company, that point of time, there were about 1.5 million gig workers. Today, there are about 8 million gig workers, which is going to increase to about 24 million gig workers by 2030. Now, imagine the amount of congestion that we see in cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, Gurgaon, Delhi, and all those metropolitan cities. And it's not just about the congestion; it's also about the productivity losses and the rising cost, which it is all contributing towards. And after doing all this hard work, which all of you guys do, what we get to live in and breathe is not very pure. We talk about the sustainability aspect of it and how the current challenges revolving around the transportation sector, largely catering to 70% of the sector emission coming from the road dependent logistics, is spoiling up the entire sector and the segment, and sort of leading towards a very disruptive yet a very feeble future, which requires a lot of elements and immediate elements to change it to a larger degree. And that's what we embarked on solving for. India's logistics ecosystem contribute about 14% to the GDP. And as the country is growing and as good amount of things are happening with respect to that, it creates a good amount of opportunity for us, which where our SOM stands to be 6.24 billion, focusing on the express parcel delivery market, which is a last mile segment that we typically focus on, where the consumer is also changing. Good amount of opportunity exists for good amount of disruption to basically take place. And as ecom and quickcom, both the sectors are booming out here like anything and going to grow, it is all yielding and leading to delivery costs to go up. It is all leading to efficiency going down, or efficiency being very, very stagnant into certain aspects of things. That's what we went into solving for, which industry and people both wanted. Have unparalleled speed, build up efficiency, leading to cost effectiveness, leading to more sustainable form of transportation, which can go and solve this entire thing. So that's why we went and created a vertical transportation ecosystem, creating a product like, I mean, having a drone with the automation, with the autonomy coming into the whole aspect, and having airspace being driven in the context of, hey, what it takes to fly in the airspace and make it more safer and reliable, and how does the entire connectivity piece needs to work together, and further building the infrastructure. So we went into building each and every block which is required, and that's where we became a full stack, in the sense that from the hardware components which were required from a logistics point of view, we went into development of that. We went into development of the OS, which is required to drive the entire system. We went into development of what is required with respect to flying into the airspace, which we call as a UTM, that provides access to the airspace and makes it more safer and reliable. And then further, we went into, hey, where do we need to go and deliver it, and what kind of nuances will come out there, because drones can't land anywhere, and hence we went into development of the entire infrastructure. I'll take you through what all those elements look like and how does that actually come and fit in together. Formed the company in 2019, end November 2019. Signed up with Dunzo, followed by Flipkart, followed by Blue Dart. So these three customers came on board just looking into the vision that I was carrying in terms of building it. At that point of time, I'd had zero product, zero visibility of even having a prototype in place, or a working prototype in place, or anything like that, right? It was just a vision that this needs to happen, and this needs to happen now, because at the pace at which the things are moving, it's very, very immediate attention to be driven in those particular areas. The initial 2 years invested our own capital, ran company through 2 years with 6 7 members team, completely new product development from the software to the hardware stack, etc., that we were developing for. 2021 the regulations changed, and that allowed us to basically go and start flying, and we started our POCs and trials with several diagnostic players like Redcliffe, Data 1MG, SRL, Dr. Lal Path Labs, and tons of other folks who we are working with, including the state governments that we started working with, getting those approval sets. And that's the time frame when we went to the market to raise our seed capital, where Charity came on board and they led the round. We started working towards the healthcare factors and started taking care of the healthcare challenges which were coming in these particular certain geographies. But we also realized that there's a demand concentration issue demand density issues which are going to prop up in those particular areas. So healthcare, as we learned, healthcare is it's a high impact business, but it's a low scale business. And that's where we wanted to, look into the aspects of, okay, let's keep on creating this high impact. But while this is a low scale, let's look into building something in the cities, because in the first place, we ventured into development of the entire ecosystem, looking into the aspects what is required for quick commerce and e-commerce. And to do that, we started doing early commercialization in Gurgaon, build the first pod, which can receive the package through the drone in a very autonomous manner, without anybody in the loop. The drone flies through the airspace, goes and delivers it. We got Lenskart. We started with Lenskart. We looped in Shiprocket, Flipkart, and then now tons of company that we currently work with. We have 12 active clients that we currently work with across the sectors. 2024, we scaled this entire thing, and 2025 is a year when we look into taking it outside of the NCR. We work on three category of drones. Skyship One is our flagship product, that we get to do express logistics primarily. Carries 10 kgs, 70% off the shelf. We work with certain OEMs, a couple of OEMs who are providing us certain components. The anything related to safety, reliability, autonomy, and connectivity is what we develop ourselves. We don't have cameras on drones, so what we did is we built our own Sky Tunnel, which is an end-to-end air corridor allowing safer navigation, maps each and everything which is there in the airspace, and ensures that it works in tandem with the LiDAR and the proximity sensors into the drone, which is allowing it to fly at ease and at very, very reliable pace. We got our own Sky Operations portal integrated to the client's end. We have a fleet management system, Skywalker app, automating each and every element that we are looking at. We got in the middle of everything is our proprietary Skye UTM system, which is an unmanned traffic management system, allowing access to the airspace, allowing tons of data from supplementary data service providers for weather, terrain, the manned aviation, where are the helicopters flying, where are the manned aircrafts flying, etc. And how do you deconflict between one drone and the other drones which are flying in the airspace, ensuring that there's good amount of safety and reliability. There's a black box which captures every single data points, which is typically into it. This is also being utilized by 150 odd operators and drone pilots alongside 11 air traffic controllers. We don't charge them any money. It's free of cost for them right now. We want people, more and more people to come and utilize it. And as the government will make it a mandatory thing eventually in the times to come, we look into monetizing this platform as well. But today, this platform is fueling all our deliveries, which we are conducting. We have got 7 hubs in Gurgaon connected to 60 pods. And that's how the deliveries are happening typically today. Just allow me a quick second. I will just change the screen and present to you something that we are on how these deliveries look like and how these deliveries are typically done, which will give you a better sense of what I'm talking about. So that's the Skye Air system, which and how the deliveries are typically done. Every single day we are conducting these deliveries. When we began in middle of 2023, we were doing about 1,500 odd deliveries on a monthly basis. Today, Today we do about 200,000 odd deliveries on a monthly basis. That's a scale that we have achieved in one city. Last financial year, we did about 1.2 million shipments. Every trip essentially carrying about 20 shipments, saving about 250 tons of carbon emission. We grew about 7x between April 24 to March 25, working with Flipkart, Blue Dart, Ecom Express, Zepto, now got Blinkit as well with us, and tons of other clients that we keep on adding on. Same day delivery, 4-hour delivery, and 10 minutes delivery. Different price model, looking into the aspects of speed and volume. and it's all determined by those particular things. Skye UTM, we again, as I said, we're looking at monetizing that in the future. We're not monetizing that today, but it's regulation ready drone operations being enabled to a massive scale of whatever is going to happen in a particular airspace. We grew 80x with Flipkart. We were able to reduce average delivery time for Zepto from 17 minutes to 4 minutes, essentially allowing them to do batching. So we did 40% batching. And how we see that the dark stores today is moved from 10,000 SKUs to 40,000 SKUs. And that is requiring them to look into the aspects of consolidation. So wherever there are like 30 dark stores, for example, it's going to consolidate to about 18 or 19 dark stores, large in size, handling 40,000 SKUs, and handling a larger radius. So this radius of 1.8 kilometer is rising up to go to about 4 kilometer, 2 kilometer being done by the road, 2 kilometer being done by the drones. And essentially that is allowing us to get to a level where we can generate about 56% of gross margin in e-commerce and 60% gross margin in quick commerce with the kind of delivery operations that we have right now. Drones are more cheaper means of transportation. We are already providing a benefit of 10% to e-commerce today with respect to road delivery, and that's the amount of things that we're changing. We do about 18% of Flipkart's delivery in Gurgaon. That's our penetration to Flipkart. We do about 25% of Blue Dart's delivery in Gurgaon. We activated 27 pin codes, cover about 182 square kilometer of radius coverage. And we have just activated Faridabad, plans to activate Delhi, and thus forward go from here on. This is my team. Viral is here. We'll just take a minute to maybe introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ankit. Good evening, everyone. Just to give you a quick introduction, I'm a chartered accountant with about 18 years of experience. Initial part of my career was into a large listed organization called JM Equals. Later, it became JM Financial. I was heading business planning and strategy for various investment advisory and to financing business within the group, which had a wealth management distribution of financial products. My journey started in a startup ecosystem somewhere in 2018. That's where I got to work with some of the prominent startups like Nazara Gaming, which was contemplating a IPO listing at that point in time. So I was part of that IPO journey of Nazara. I worked along with CEO there, Anish Agarwal, and I was driving the IPO process for Nazara. Apart from that, had seen journey of Lenskart, Live Space, Rento Mojo, Pito. I mean, these are some of the companies which has raised a significant capital, and they were part of our portfolio companies. So I had seen those journey, and in about a year, more than a year now, I'm associated with Skye Air, where again I wanted to be a part of operating environment, and I'm taking care of finance here, essentially three areas, which is the investor relation, accounting, and the control mechanism within the organization. Thank you.
Thanks, Viral. So aside him, there are like 85 members who are working with us and who are coming from very diverse industry segments, trying to help around and do the best that they could in terms of building this entire value prop that we have created for customers like Flipkart and Zeptos and other companies that we're currently working with. Being awarded at different forums and different platforms, Forbes recognizes us as one of the potential companies to scale globally in the times to come. ET has awarded us recently as Innovative Star of the Year. Our UTM, by the way, launched by Nitin Gadkari ji. He was kind enough to honor and come across and sort of say that, hey, I'm going to inaugurate what is called as the traffic management solution for the airspace. While I navigate and do the same thing for the road, let's do that for the airspace as well. So those are some of the things that we have been working on, driving things forward and forward. We raised so far about $6 million. Our last round was Series A1, which we did in April, which concluded in April 2024, where Mount Judy Ventures came on board and they sort of led the round. We're raising a larger round, which is a $8 million round. We have commitment from the existings to about 2.5 million. We are working on lead and co-leads, which are in the phases of getting finalized. We expect the term sheets and everything to get sorted out in about 1.5 months, or 4 to 6 weeks, essentially, and then followed on by the due diligence and other processes which will take up. We also did a lot of stuff in UAE and Saudi Arabia, and that's our GTM for those markets is primarily driven by partnerships that we have cracked in those markets. So we are not going and making it or running our own operations in those markets, essentially targeting to work on how we are working, how we are trying to work around with Emirates or with Aramex in Saudi Arabia is on the lines of providing them our OS, providing them the UTM platform, providing them the training on how to utilize it, and building the entire infrastructure and giving them the entire tech stack to go and sort of fly drones by themselves and do those kind of stuff. That's our GTM for any foreign market that we look into ultimately envisaging and creating it. And those are tops of discussion that we keep on doing it. That puts us rightly on the global map, ensuring that this year the target is that we emerge to be the largest drone delivery player in the world, bypassing Zipline, which happens to be the largest player today in terms of volume. That's how we are placed today. Zipline took about 9 years to get to a level of 1.4 million deliveries. We did that in about 2.5 years of operations from 2022 to 2024 end. We were able to do about 1.2 million deliveries. That's how we're looking at growing, and we compare to Mana again on the similar lines. So that's it from my side. Happy to answer any questions if you guys have. I have a quick video on UTM. So if Rohan, you want me to play that video very quickly for a minute or so, I
Sure,
can do
we
that.
can do that. We can do that.
Just a second. I think UTM will give a right sense of hey, how the mode is being created in terms of traffic management and things like that, and how it is being very instrumental in terms of the government giving us approvals. And I see one of the questions was there on how the approvals and other mechanisms to work. So I think the government in any country is not very biased about not allowing or allowing drones. I think they simply need hand-holding and conviction to be built with respect to, hey, what are you doing? You just say or you do, and what's the difference between saying and doing and all those kind of elements which are there. I think the access to the UTM system that we have provided to all the air traffic controllers that we work with and the government in central as well gives them a lot of leverage to trust and look into how we are doing things and monitor us anytime they wish to monitor us. And that's the reason why we have 210 air corridors in Gurugram, which is approved by the civil aviation authorities. There are certain air corridors which are even approved by the MOD, the Ministry of Defense, and the MHA, the Ministry of Home Affairs. Let me just quickly play this video for you. It'll give you an insight on what we built and why that's creating good amount of moat for us.
The peak capacity of an ATC tower is 75 flights per hour or 1,800 flights per day. This capacity of air traffic management systems falls significantly short for the modern aviation of drones and other automated flying systems. Introducing Skye UTM, the most advanced UTM system across the globe. The platform performs the task of stitching unmanned air traffic with manned air traffic. Skye UTM builds virtual highways in the sky, forming safe and efficient paths for drones to transport goods, services, and eventually people from one place to another. Skye UTM organizes the drone air traffic and demarcates the airspace based on size, category, altitude requirement, and type of operation of a drone for better and efficient traffic flow. And the regulatory access is offered to the regulators, ATC towers and other stakeholders to monitor airspace usage, design regulations, and generate approvals. The platform enables real-time data transfer and coordination between all the different stakeholders such as the Common Information Service Provider, Ministry of Civil Aviation, the regulator, ATCs, Air Force, and other public/private aviation agencies. Skye UTM publishes the flight details of a drone operation in the black box engine that displays the time-stamped flight details of the mission in a pre-flight, in-flight, and post-flight format. The engine also publishes any errors or breaches that occurred during the flight. The platform's deconfliction engine continuously compares horizontal and vertical separation of all the manned and unmanned traffic to ensure all flights reach their destination safely.
So we're the only recognized Indian UTM service provider by the Ministry of Civil Aviation, by the way. and who creates good amount of flight bubble in terms of the drones to transfer and move across, ensuring data privacy and security is upheld to a larger extent. It's highly encrypted, and we ensure that the drone is able to do multitude of things, and every single data which the drone is capturing, if required by the government, can be shared to the government as well. That's a digital sky integration. This is where we, as a UTM, falls in. That's how our architecture looks like. The digital sky, if many of you are aware, that that's the backend system which India created, called, I mean, essentially coined by, in NASA's terminology, it's a FIMS, uh, Flight Information Management System, or a database which keeps everything, and which has got access for DGC, AI, AFMLU, Air Force Military Licensing Unit, no CAS, no TAM, MET, and tons of other security agencies have got access to the system to look into every single aspect which is happening in the airspace. And that's where the UTM providers or digital sky service providers come in, providing supplementary data. This entire architecture was built by us in 2018-19 when we were working on the first policy and other stuff. And that led me to look into the aspects of, hey, how we can go and create a better system, which can integrate in the backend with digital sky and ensure that the user is getting good amount of information in order to fly. So user today gets access to building regulations, applying for permissions, getting those permissions. If you want to fly a drone in wherever you live, you can just go and access the system and you can apply for a permission. If you're flying in a green zone, you get a permission ASAP. If you're flying in a yellow zone, you get a permission in 3 to 4 days. If you're flying in a red zone, that might take you about 14 to 15 days for you to get the approvals. But the good part is you don't have to do any legwork, uh, visiting any department, or uh, hustling around with point A to point B to point C. It captures about 750 mini weather stations which are there in the country. Data from there, localized regional data, which is circled around um, the most important factor which impacts the drone operations, which is weather. And it highlights, and it has got a predictive weather analytics tool that we developed, which gives you the idea about whether it's good to fly, bad to fly, you should not fly, etc., based on what is the wind speed tolerance of a drone that you're flying, what is the wind speed that drone is typically on, etc., etc. Every single thing which goes in that particular aspect. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it very quickly from my side.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Ankit. I think great pitch, and the end video really helped. A lot of folks had questions around the regulations. I think I'll quickly start going through the questions, and you can probably keep the answers like 10 to 30 seconds unless it requires a detailed explanation, because there are a lot of questions that are going to come up. So I will start. I think regarding the regulations, Sadika had asked, what regulatory approvals do you need to set up a new hub in a different city or state?
No regulatory approval for hub setup. We need all the routes that we fly from. So hubs are connected to the pods, and every single route requires approval from the civil aviation authorities, and then further coupled by the district administrations in context of wherever we are flying. So yeah, we do take those approval sets.
Got it. Couple of questions from Chaitri. I think uh, top pinpoint and metric targeted for ecom, are unit economics positive today? And questions around who are your drone supplier, what safeguards are there to the uniqueness against competition?
Yeah, the oldest hubs where we have attained a certain volume, they are in double-digit positive gross margins. Blended level, we are at 7% sort of a gross margin positive again. And that's changing every month. That's like the focus is on those particular lines. Three major costs for us over there. You have the cost on the battery, which we are upgrading, and on the technology on each and everything that we're working across. We upgrade from 300 cycle battery to 800 cycle battery now, which is going to be utilized across the board, that we are doing, and that reduces our cost from 2.5 3 rupees to about 0.85 paise. per kilometer. That's the level that I think per package, sorry. That's the level of things that we are trying to work around as well. The second aspect is the walker cost. The walker cost is largely dependent on how better we are able to utilize the walker, because today to retain a walker we pay around 800 rupees, and the walker does about 45 deliveries average. He can do about 90 deliveries to 100 deliveries in a day. So the moment more and more density starts, or more and more order volume starts coming on that particular pod for that worker, we are able to monetize on the cost on that particular level. And the third aspect is the utilization of the drone and the pilot, which is again proportion to how the scale and the addition of the numerous number of packages in that particular zip code starts coming in.
Got it. I think that's a detailed summary. Uh, Next question from her was around the who are your drone suppliers and what safeguards are there against competition?
Yeah, so I can't name the drone suppliers. We have one based
Sure.
out of Bangalore, which is a part of a large listed company. They do largely work with defense. Outside of defense, we are the only company that they work with. We have exclusivity with them that they can't supply the drones that they're supplying to us to anybody else in any form. Uh, and and the second supplier is a Taiwanese company which is set up India shop and based out of Gurgaon, and they are trying to again work on a similar levels with us. We are the only buyers who is predominantly working with them. And hence we work with them even on the batteries. So they also provide us the batteries. That's a co-IP product between both the companies. And that's where we have upper hand in terms of both the kind of stuff that we are taking up and then integrating and working across. And number two, with respect to the pricing power that we have got with them. So we were able to reduce just on a hypothetical level. I mean, not a hypothetical level, just on a higher level. We were procuring drones at about 15 lakh rupees a cost each unit in 2022. While today the cost remains around 6 lakh. We look into reducing this to about 4 lakh in another 12 to 18 months.
Got it. I think while we touched in detail about the different aspects of cost, I think Anush is asking what is the maintenance cost for a drone?
Negligible. We have on and off maintenance requirements which comes in typically with respect to propellers. Because when the propellers are moving, there's a lot of dust and dirt in the airspace. It does break the propellers after a certain time frame, and those are the only things that basically keep on changing. And it's very minuscule. Varies between anything between 2,000 to 3,000 rupees on a monthly basis or per drone basis. You can call it in that way.
Sure, sure. I think next question is by Sadika again. Founders hold 40% post Series A2 or pre Series A2?
Pre.
Sure.
Yeah, but we are working on restructuring that as well. So yeah, there are talks happening that we would be looking into the aspects of founders equity going up. And even after the A2 round closure, the founders would be holding close to 40%.
Got it. Next question is by Leela. How much scope is there for growth in Gurgaon in terms of area coverage? Example, how much area is covered and how much is left, and what are the next cities for expanding? And I think next aspect we already covered what it takes to start operations in a new city. Does open power lines make any impact, and how much are the margins? I think we covered the second aspect as well.
I think we covered the margins and the profitability. We are gross margin positive. We are heading towards becoming CM positive, which is by the first quarter of next financial year. At a city level, we'll be CM positive for the entire of NCR. From an opportunity perspective, Gurgaon can generate us about 2 crore of revenue per month. We are doing about 50 lakhs. So it can simply go 4x from here. We're doing about 27 pin codes, but not all the zip codes or pin codes are open for every single customer. It's in the blended level, we're talking about 27 pin codes. Max, we can take it around 35 pin codes. And the idea is now that, I mean, the focus for the last 7, 8 months, 10 months was on two factors. One is deeply penetrate with the clients that we have got without adding new clients. And the second was that let's look into the aspects of reducing cost and ensuring that we go gross margin positive and head towards contribution margin positive. So that was the two focus areas which we have now obtained. And effective June, we started adding more clients. We just, I mean, between June and July, we just added three more clients, which are coming in, which are generating better yields for us. We signed up with Amazon as well, which is gonna start very, very soon. We're signing up with Misho. We're signing up with plenty of other customers that are coming and that are adding. And these are customers which are going to add more volume to those same zip codes. These customers are going to add more and more volumes, which will take the opportunity from 50 lakhs to 2 crore. And that's just Gurgaon, by the way. Delhi is 10 times of Gurgaon. So that's the kind of potential opportunity which lies for us in Delhi. Outside of Gurgaon, the first things we are looking at is Delhi, Ghaziabad, Faridabad, and Noida to activate. Delhi, we are only activating West and South, as 60% of the shoppers or the consumer shopping or consumer e-commerce shipments come from West and South of Delhi. And that's what we want to focus on. Ghaziabad, we just activated with Blue Dot. That we're working in Ghaziabad in one zip code. We're looking at expanding and adding at least 10 zip codes in Ghaziabad. Uh, Faridabad, we started with Flipkart. We are looking at adding more and more customers over there. So for any area, it's an anchor client that is what we are looking at. Post the closure of the Series A2 or Pre-Series B, as we call it, we're looking at going to Bangalore, which we have done a soft launch. One apartment has been activated. We are acquiring more societies. So there's a pipeline of 20 odd societies in Bangalore that we are in the acquisition phase right now. Once we set up in Bangalore, we go to Pune, we go to Mumbai, we go to Hyderabad, and then Kolkata, and the other five cities outside of NCR that we're going to expand to.
Sure. Thanks for summarizing that in detail. Next question is by Atif. Any plans to get into the defense sector as well?
Not really. A lot of things that we do right now is service based. Defense largely works on capex based uh, things, and they don't look into the aspect of providing services typically. One of the things that we're working with defense is towards cantonments. So whatever cant areas are there, essentially we are looking into it, and this is a requirement from their side. They're looking at making cans as quick commerce hubs, where they want to provide services to people living in the cantonment area, to order from the cantonment and get this delivered into those particular areas. So one of those activities are taking off right now. We're also looking into drones getting into NDRF, quick disaster relief, etc., in all those category areas where it can deliver a first aid, it can deliver all those kind of elements, etc. So those are the verticals that we are looking at. We're not looking at pure uh, surveillance and inspection and different other kind of elements.
Got it. Next question is by Krishna. While India UAE is a good test bed to optimize solution in a low cost way, isn't the main opportunity in a market like US or UK or Canada?
I have a contrary opinion on this because I feel India is the biggest market in terms of the in terms of the logistics opportunity typically. US might be a big market. It may be a big market in terms of in terms when everything is opened up, which today it is not. In the US, it's still limited to rural and semi-urban sort of an environment. You can't go in Chicago or New York City and fly drones. And when you talk about the rural and the semi-urban areas, the problem with them is density. So what you're delivering essentially is one-to-one, one package going to one house and doing all those kind of deliveries, which is not really working out so well because the unit economics is not working out compared to what a human is essentially doing out there. And I think the opportunity does lie in the US. In the overall context, maybe 3 years down the line, when a lot of these things starts opening up and you're allowed to fly in cities like you do in Shenzhen or you do in other parts of China or you do in Gurgaon, for example. And once that starts happening up, probably those markets will become much bigger. But today, as we see, India is very, very high on allowing things to happen right within the city. And UAE is also taking steps towards it, making Dubai as a prime example, and Abu Dhabi is taking place as well, making these two cities as prime examples where drone deliveries and aerial taxis can really take off well.
Got it. In addition, just to add on, I think like the volume of scale lies in India and US is primarily a SaaS first company, and this is not a, I mean, market, but this is not a SaaS offering, right? So this is more of more utilization of the drone in a great capacity. And yeah, I think scales definitely lie here. Cool. Next question, couple of questions by Munir. Uh, so this is an open industry. Do you have no stoppage for tomorrow? People like Swiggy and Zomato to create something similar. I don't think they would create this. They would rather utilize by partnering with an existing player, but I'll let Ankit also add his opinion on this.
Yeah, this is not an open industry in that context. It's too difficult to crack into it. And there's a lot of elements. That's why I said that we are not a drone delivery company. So we are a vertical ecosystem provider in all contexts, because we're not just talking about drones, which is delivering it. We also talk about airspace. We also talk about infrastructure, which is required for the drones to take off. So essentially, if I have to give you a context of EV, think of us like we are developing everything which is required for anybody to basically drive it. We also are training the driver. We also are essentially ensuring that the driver is getting a license to fly or to take off. And then we are ensuring that the driver, when it's going and sort of delivering it, it has got the required infrastructure to do so. So it's end to end, which is sort of working in that way. And the best part is it's all autonomous. The pilot in the loop is only to monitor the entire thing because the regulations say so. The moment the regulation says that you can go to level 5 autonomy, we are all trained to go to level 5 autonomy. Uh, we already work with Blinkit. We approached rather Zomato to start working with. They said, let's do this with Blinkit and then go to Zomato and tons of other things. Swiggy as well. We are looking at Instamart. Instamart is what we're trying to work around with, building up use cases and trying to see what all areas we can start catering to. Uh, can you be like a government agency approved where these companies have to tie up to fly commercial drones? From a UTM perspective, essentially yes. When the government makes it mandatory that you have to go through the UTM platform, people will have to come to the UTM platform where the UTM will in turn take the entire case to the government and get it approved by them. And once that approval comes in, we sort of go and fly.
Next question is by Anush. What if drone fails and falls? What is your insurance and legal aspects?
Yeah, I mean, these are machines, they can anytime fail and they can fall as well. We have multiple contingencies and levers that we have put in context. For example, I mean, every single system that we have built is on multiple redundancies. If two motors fail, the four motors are capable enough for the drones to go to an alternate recovery site. Every single route that we have created has got multiple alternate recovery and landing sites. If a battery fails, the primary battery fails, is the auxiliary battery to provide that much of power for the drone to basically go to the alternate recovery site. And tons of other fail safes that has been created into it. If the connectivity with the ground control station fails, the drone will hover for 120 seconds. If it's not regaining a connection, it will come back to the alternate recovery site. So in all contexts, these are the programs which are there. If everything fails, there's a parachute on board which will get deployed and bring the drone safely down, ensuring that it doesn't hit or doesn't do anything. On top of it, we have a third-party liability coverage of 20 lakhs on every single drone and every single flight that we carry out. Uh, and we comply with every single regulations with approvals and mechanisms from the police to district administration to the civil aviation authorities. So nothing goes against on the legal front.
Got it. There are a bunch of questions which have come from your namesake, Ankit, but we'll take up a couple of them and then I'll get the rest answered, by sharing.
There are too many namesakes.
Yeah, so what monthly delivery volume are you targeting to achieve 30 to 40% gross margin and EBITDA positivity? And with 1.8 lakhs delivery per month currently, what's the timeline to reach, say, 9 lakh per month, etc.?
Yeah, I think Viral can answer this better, but on a very high level, we're looking at 700,000, 600 to 700,000 sort of monthly volumes in city like Gurgaon to get to a level of where Gurgaon will be positive and that would cater in that particular level. Viral, why do you add on this?
Yeah. Just to give you ballpark number, we will be CM2 positive when we'll be able to achieve close to about 1 CR kind of revenue number with 20% gross margin. Because our operating cost at a city level is close to about 20 lakh rupees, which will be taken care of by getting to 1 crore number. Just to give you a little more perspective at a hub level, typically, our hub has a capacity of doing close to about 1 lakh delivery in a month. uh, we start with the anchor customer who comes on board with a certain volume being undertaken by them. But once we start adding more capacity in the hub, that's where our unit economics will start scaling in a manner where each hub will get profitable. So at a hub level, getting to a 1 lakh kind of volume is the milestone for us. And at a city level, it is close to about 1 crore. These are the two, benchmark which we internally aim to get to profitability city, each city and each one.
Got it. Thanks, Viral. We'll take up one of his other questions, and then, Ankit, we'll come back to the others later because there are a lot of questions,
Sure.
a lot of folks. So, are you charging clients per delivery, per route, or on fixed monthly contracts? And how does your pricing model evolve with scale and density?
Yeah, these are yearly contracts, and the pricing model is based on the volume and the speed element. So if a client is choosing to go for same day delivery, whatever is the volume, according to that, the slab hits. If a client is choosing to go with a 4 hour delivery, whatever is the volume, the slabs hits, and likewise. So they're not fixed monthly contract. These are yearly contracts that we sign with every single client before we activate them. Uh, yeah,
Potential
scale
competitors,
and speed.
yeah, scale
Hmm.
and density.
Right. Sorry, your question was who are your potential competitors?
Yeah, who are your potential competitors by the leap?
Yeah, typically in the e-commerce and quick commerce on what we are established and what we are doing, it's a very monopolistic scenario today. There's nobody in the market that is doing what we are doing. In the healthcare side, we do have a couple of we do have 3 or 4 players that is there from Bangalore. I think Red Wing Labs, Tech Eagle, TSAW, and few other companies that are doing healthcare deliveries. Again, that's a land and deliver. It doesn't require a lot of infrastructure, doesn't require a lot of things in context of what is required and how competitive is the landscape which is there in the cities over here. I do see that there's an emergence of foreign players coming back into the Indian market and trying to crack into the entire aspects of how the delivery needs to happen or how the deliveries they are conducting in other markets that might emerge. And that's the kind of a potential competition that we see. And that's where we want to take our share of the first mover advantage to larger degree. One of the other reasons, and we find that as a moat to us as well, is the client conviction. This is such an industry that it's not that Flipkart happened to give us the kind of volume that we're doing today on day one. It took them a lot of time, a lot of conviction. Imagine that, I mean, this question came from their legal to me that imagine if a drone crashes with a Flipkart logo on it or a package on it. Your name, nobody will be able to find, but Flipkart's name will be all across the news and media, and how much destruction it will do to our value and brand. You can't imagine as well. So I think it's a call which not only a operations team is taking or a business team is taking. It's a call being taken by the ESG, legal, safety, compliance, and tons of other teams. And simply a competitor going and providing a rupee or 2 rupees discount on what we are doing. I don't think that's a good amount of incentive for these guys or any of our clients to even look at the aspects of having those players involved in. So it's a much larger thing, and it takes a lot of patience and hard work in terms of building and getting that conviction with the customers. And today we have that, and that's where we are scaling this entire thing.
Got it. Think next question is from Shubham Deep that it will still need a logistics person to take out the item from the pod and deliver to the address. Is he right? Which probably from the current situation is. And what
Yeah,
revenue are you
unfortunately,
estimating for this
because
financial year?
we certainly want to build something that could replace, but the whole thing is that we are such we're so used to the convenience of it that there are a lot of elements which needs to be solved for. 70% of Indian consumers buy stuff on cash on delivery, right? Somebody has to collect the cash. Somebody has to go with a UPI. somebody has to validate whether the UPI is happening or not. Anything beyond 10,000 rupees in value, it automatically goes into OBD, which is open box delivery. There's somebody has to validate that the box is opening up and you're receiving a genuine product or not. So I think there's a lot of elements in the Indian consumer ecosystem with respect to delivery that needs to be automated and solved for before we talk about replacing that last mile guy who is essentially taking out the package and delivering it. We are working on that, and I think somebody asked about the partnership with Arrive. The partnership with Arrive is typically on that particular line where we are co-developing the end-to-end mile services, ensuring that hey, there's no man in the loop, and we simply and I think an example of that you'll soon see in Cyber Hub. I don't know how many of you are based out of Gurgaon, but what we're establishing in Cyber Hub is drone delivering at the pod, and then an automated rover taking out from the pod, going to building 9, going to floor number 5, delivering to your office building and office complex, and 100% automated. And there's a lot of elements that we are working around, making the user experience much better, and what kind of loopholes are there which people will try to take advantage of, and several nuances that we're trying to solve for, but still distant.
Got it. I think next set of questions from him were revenue projection for this year and the next 5 years.
Right. For this year, we are looking at about 14 crores. Um, that's the revenue projections that we have for this year. And in the next, I'll give you next 3 years, which is on top of my head. I mean, by 2028, we are looking at achieving about 105 crores in revenue, which will take the company profitable. And yeah, that's it, which is on top of my head. I can share the projections and other things if you require.
Got it. The other Ankit, who's the investor here, we'll come back to your questions later because there are a lot of them, and then I'll also get those answered offline via
I think he's
Ankit
done a
and
lot of research here. I'm so
yeah.
impressed. Thank you so much. Yeah.
He actually
India
sent me
Post,
this
Himachal
set of
Pi.
questions before the pitch call, so I will share his
And
questions and get those answered in
this
detail.
is really amazing. This is really amazing. There's a good amount of research has been done on this particular line. That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. We'll go to Arjun. What was the last round valued at, and how much dilution has already happened?
Sorry, can we go next?
Yeah, Arjun's question was, what was the last round valued at, and how much dilution has happened?
Hey, can you hear me? Sorry, I
Yeah,
think there was some.
I can hear you.
Yeah,
Am I
some
audible?
lag.
Yeah, I'll take this. So
Yeah,
Rohan,
go
am I
ahead.
audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
So our last round valuation was 14 million post money, and for the current round we are looking at valuing close to about 20% for the round.
Got it. Ankit, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. I can.
Got it. I think if
I just switched
can
on
hear
my
you, you
video
can, yeah,
just in the
no
background.
worries. You can switch off video if network is a, concern, because anyway, everyone has got a face to the audio. So yeah. I think next question is by Shrikant. Do you have any patents filed?
Yeah, I mean, we have about 19 patents that we are filing for. Two are already filed, 17 are in progress. One is in the last stage of getting granted.
Interesting. Quick set of questions. Shubham is asking split of quick com and normal delivery revenue.
95 is to 5. 95 is e-commerce, 5% is quick commerce.
Got it. Dinesh is asking how many drones that you currently fly in Gurgaon and Bangalore? How many deliveries per day? I think we said about 2 lakhs a month is the current scale. How will it grow in future, and expected growth in revenue and profits? I think we covered this as well.
Yeah,
Last question is, how will this be impacted if terrorists also use drones? Is a
they are still using drones, by the way. You always see this coming out from uh, not so friendly neighbors, drones coming all across carrying guns and uh, drugs and multiple other things. So they're just using drones, but it's very difficult to do that in cities, and they typically operate in hindsight. So we don't see that usability coming in picture as of now. Secondly, the aspects of, and that's where we have been very vocal about, having the UTM as a mandatory system, because what is visible on the UTM is a legal drone that you classify. What is not visible and is still seen in the airspace is an illegal drone that you can shoot it down. Today, the biggest challenge with the government is that they are not able to detect which is a good drone or a bad drone. And that classification is missing. Hence, the anti-drone technology, despite of having good anti-drone technology, people are not able to utilize it.
Got it. I think how many drones was another question by him. How many drones are currently operational?
We are operating about 16 drones in Gurugram and Bangalore. These are e-commerce drones which are being utilized. We have our healthcare operations as well, which is going in AIMS Mangalagiri, AIMS Patna, AIMS Devghar, and few of the places which comes under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Yojana, and we are operating for them as well. So that's where 3-4 drones are utilizing in that particular capacity in the healthcare side of it as well.
Got it. I think Krishna's question we've covered. Current ARR, I think last financial year was at 3.5 CR, and currently this year's projection is 14 crores.
Correct.
And by Dinesh, Zipline can also enter India market. How will you tackle that risk of losing market share?
They entered India in 2017 and they winded up operations in 2018, just because the platform was not apt to what India required. They might enter again, no doubt on that, and they will enter again. We don't see that there is any chance of losing in market share. I think there's enough market for at least 3 or 4 players to play in a very simple manner, and this is enough opportunity for 3-4 players to come in and play around it, and we wish that somebody else also goes and cracks the amount of things that we have done. That will only help the industry to grow to a larger degree, right? So yeah, I think India is at a position where it becomes very lucrative for foreign players to come in, who have got the good amount of technology, who have invested in technology, who has developed certain bit of things. And we are looking forward to those things. And we don't have a risk of losing any market share with anybody.
Cool. Sounds good. Next set of questions are by Jagdish. So, Jagdish, while we've covered a good bunch of this, if you want to even unmute and ask some set of questions, right, please feel free to, I will allow you to unmute as well if you want to, perhaps, or else we'll cover what is not covered so far. Uh, So I think one question would be what differentiates the company's technology services or business model from competitors, and how do you intend to maintain a competitive advantage?
I think as I said, there's no typical competitor today in the Indian market, but let me compare this to a foreign competitor, say for Zipline or anybody else for that matter. What we developed is looking into the aspects of Indian market and how that's really going to change and go forward with. That's where the infra part comes in, the pod part comes in, that none of these guys develop pods in US or any other country for that matter. They simply go and drop a package into a particular house, and that's how the entire infrastructure in the US or European countries are there, that everybody has got a lawn. Unlike India, where you are still delivering 40% of the orders in slum areas and areas which are not so good. And a lot of people live in Bindle's floor, they live in apartment buildings, they live in different other places where they don't have a designated spot where anybody can go and deliver it. So I think the biggest bottleneck for us even was to crack the infrastructure piece of it, which we did. The second piece is the winching platform that we developed. Our winch can carry about 10 kilos of a product. Zipline does about 2.5 kilo. Wing, which is a Google back company, does about 3.5 kilo. So the weight limitation and weight capacity, because since they're carrying one shipment, it makes sense for them to do 2.5 kilo, 3.5 kilo. We carry bunch of shipments together, aggregate. So there's an aggregation benefit. The winching capacity is 10 kilos compared to the peers. Uh, the platform that we're utilizing and the battery pack that we're utilizing has got 800 cycles. And it's a co-developed product. So we are also applying for patents on those things. And while any of our competition in the market is currently using about a 500 cycles, 600 cycles, even in the US, Zipline's battery pack is about 500 cycles. So there's a lot of advantage which goes in that particular area. Zipline makes its own drone. Wing also makes its own drone, which limits their ability to work with anybody and everybody, and which also limits them to utilize their own platform where they have invested millions of dollars. And hence, what happens is their current equipment cost in Indian rupees is about 25-30 odd lakhs, where our current asset cost is 6 lakh, and which we are looking at reducing to 4 lakh. And if I have to go to US, I'm free to work with any US drone manufacturer which can service my requirement without the need of going and applying for type certification, because that's something that he is going to take care of it. So my GTM or go to market is not very long, it's very short. And I think these are the aspects coming together, builds a good amount of value prop as well as moat for us to have a better advantage in terms of any competitor.
Got it. Any follow-ups, Jagdish, on this or cool? Moving on.
Rohan, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Sorry, something wrong with it. Hey, Ankit, Jagdish here. So,
Hey, hi, Jyoti.
the drone space is getting extremely crowded. Technology
Yep.
is evolving pretty rapidly. What is your competitive advantage yesterday is no longer your advantage today. Everything what you listed out as your competitive advantage from a technology, infrastructure, product, etc., won't be the advantage even in early 2026, given the kind of products that are getting launched and their capacity, etc. So today in 2025, everything what you listed out may be your product competitive advantage, but not sure if it is going to be the same case in 2026. And second is that you said today you do not have any competition, but do you know how many are in the drawing board, in the concept stage, trying to get
Right.
launched in the space you're already in?
Yeah, I mean, are you done?
Hey, sure.
Okay. Couple of things here, right? Coming to the first part that you were listing out, I 100% agree with you that it's so rapidly changing, and the technology piece is so rapidly evolving and changing that anything which is of substance today is not going to be a substance tomorrow. And that's what we believe in, and we keep on working towards to keep on upgrading the entire tech stack, maybe from a software perspective, maybe for the hardware perspective, maybe from the application perspective, whatever is required in downline for that to happen. It's not that we limit ourselves. Look at the pods. We are at version 3.0. We are working on version 4.0. Look at the winching mechanism. We are at version 3 right now on the Winch platform as well. We are working on a slotting mechanism, which is gonna essentially ensure that we are able to do a milk run, go from point A to point B to point C, keep on dropping shipments and come back. And those are the algos and those are the things and equipments that we are working upon. One of the biggest advantages, since we are not one platform dependent, we are free to work with any technology or any new advancement which is coming into the picture, right? Where our competitions are not, because they have to go and they have to do everything by themselves, and they have to keep maneuvering and changing the entire platform then on which they are working by themselves. In our context, we are very open, and we are very much tracking onto the lines of looking into upgrading each and every system. So we're not sitting quietly and looking into it. Hey, this is the advantage that we have today, so let's not work on it. Let's utilize it. But at the same time, we also believe that there's no perfect solution for anything, right? There's always this entire thing that goes in my mind that let's develop something which has got an application for it, utilize it, make money, ensure that we are able to keep on developing and let that money flow in to ensure that we have a right area to keep on developing things for. It should not happen that I get so biased on developing a technology that I forget about the application and forget about the utility, and after a few years, I realized that, hey, there's no money in this, and the consumers are not paying money for this. Hence, creating a very super high-tech technology doesn't make any sense. So I think we are very much, and my thought is very much in line with what you said in the first point, that the technology is really evolving very, very rapidly and quickly. And one of the best points that we have is we are not dependent on one platform. Hence, we can simply maneuver, change, and keep on adopting any new technology which is coming outside the purview, and any new thing that we are internally developing on our side to keep on improving the form factor, to keep on improving the efficiency, to keep on improving the aspects of safety and reliability. Now, those are the elements that we cater to, ensuring that whatever we do, the cost should come down. Because fortunately, unfortunately, we are in an industry which is very cost centric. We are in a market which is very cost centric. Hence, we have to look into those aspects as well, balancing the entire thing to go hand in hand. Coming to the second part, we do know how many companies are on the drawing board. There's a company called as Airbound, which is on the drawing board. There are a few companies which are doing, we're trying to work around on creating different elements of the things. But here's the thing, and this is my thought process. Again, I could be wrong, and I'm being very candid over here. Um, I believe that there's no one thing which is going to make or break the entire ecosystem. It's always gonna be an amalgamation of a lot of things coming together to make anything a success. Had we just be doing drone delivery, I don't think Skye Air would have been successful. Had we be doing just UTM, I don't think we would either be successful there. Or had we been doing the ecosystem, which is the infrastructure part of it, I don't think even that is going to work around. And there are numerous examples I can give you. On the infra side, there are players which are doing docking stations based out of Pune, etc. They raised the seed round of money, and they came to me as well. And I said, the biggest market for you guys is go to Europe, go to US, go to all those markets which will pay for this. India is not going to pay for this, right? There's not a single e-commerce player or a quick commerce player who is ready to have drones on their books. They all want to be asset light, right? So the capital crunch which is there in the market, existing in the market, so that requires players to self generate that much of capital, or go for equity money, or go for debt, etc., to raise that capital to have that amount of R&D done, or capital disbursements towards buying the drones, etc., etc. And there are a lot of nuances. So while we get into this, and while I see a lot of players on the drawing board doing one piece of it, I feel bad. But I know at the backside that, from a component perspective, people can buy component. There's a good company, I'll tell you, I'll name that company as well. It's called a Zero Drag. It's an amazing company. It's a super amazing company. IIT Delhi incubated, super good company. Had I wished to buy their equipment, they develop a communication device again, which can eradicate a lot of systems which are there on a drone. Very good systems, very good devices. The challenge is they don't have enough data to prove the reliability of the system. And unfortunately, they don't have that much of capital to get to that particular level to prove the reliability. So what challenge they are facing right now is they don't have buyers for it. While they have a good tech, while they can work and they can create that reliability data, but they don't have buyers for it. So what will it do with the tech? So I think it's a mix of elements which needs to come together to ensure that things can really work in sync. And we don't say that we are the best players in the market. We just say that we are the right players in the market, who is at the right time and trying to do the right things. And that all the three things coming together is ensuring and helping us to grow. That's all.
Hey, Ankit, thanks for that uh, long answer. Appreciate it. One follow-up question.
Sure.
Your current round is for $8 million.
Yes.
And can you, at a high level, tell us where you intend to spend this $8 million? How much is going to your R&D, infrastructure, hardware, etc., if that's okay with you?
Sure. Yeah. 500,000 is going to go into the tech upgradation, which hardware and software both. And the remaining of the money is
I'm
typically
sorry, I
going to
lost
go
you.
to every city expansion.
We lost you for a few
Can you hear me?
seconds, Ankit. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, sure. So I was saying that 1.5 million is going to go into the tech upgradation, which includes the hardware and software both. And the remaining money is going to go into city expansions that we are planning to do, which is Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, and Kolkata. So every city is going to take a certain bit of money, which is being utilized towards CapEx and OpEx both, and establishing the city-based teams and creating of those teams. But it's all going towards growth and expansion largely. We have our own playbook on both quick commerce and e-commerce, which together would require about 360 drones. So from current 33 drones, we jump to 360 drones. And that's a massive amount of drones that are going to be added to the fleet for us to take to that particular extent, right? 8 million is the main round that we are doing, but we're also doing a bridge, which I think I made Rohan aware about it. That is very quick for anybody coming with a smaller check, because we are not taking any small check in the main round. The main round is where we are working with a lead and a co-lead. We expect the lead and the co-lead to do about 6 million and 5.5 million, and 2.5 million is already subscribed for from the current investors, based on their preemptives and other things that they're exercising for. And in that particular context, I think we built in this whole thing from Bridge, that let's go and have certain investors who can come on board right now, between the time we close the main round, and that's where we open this entire thing. So that's a 1 million bridge, convertible with a certain discounting to the main round, is what we are doing right now.
And you said founders are holding 40%, and how many founders? It's split among how many people?
Just me and the ESOP pool.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Ankit. I'll come back to you with more. I think I've already taken enough time. I appreciate your time.
Jagdish will
Thank
be
you,
in
Jagdish.
touch. I think I will run you through a bunch of other stuff as well.
So,
Cool. Thank you. Krishna, I think bunch of questions around the previous round I've already answered. I think when Ankit was, Viral was answering, there was again some network lag. So the existing previous rounds as well as the set of investors I've shared, and I think bunch of utilization of fund questions were there, which is also already answered right now. We'll take the ones which are not yet covered. I think Krishna is asking how much is the current cost per kilometer and deliveries per day, and where do you see this in 1 year? How do you see GM increase in this time?
Yeah, Viral, can you take that up? We are doing about 6,500, 7,000 odd deliveries per day.
Yeah. So our cost per kilometer, in terms of
Viral, can you be a little loud because there's a lot of background noise? Can you be
yeah,
a little loud?
yeah. Yeah. So am I audible now?
Yeah, it's better.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So our battery cost on a per kilometer is close to about 3.13 rupees. That's what our battery cost is. Uh, just to give you the little more understanding, basically the batteries which we are using has a 800 cycles, which is a charging cycle, and every charging cycles we get close to about 20 kilometers of throughput. And these battery packs are costing us close to about 50,000 rupees. So with a battery pack of about 50,000 rupees, we get a throughput of close to about 16,000 kilometers, and that's where 3.13 rupees per kilometer is what our cost per kilometers is. We are incurring.
Got it.
I hope that clarifies.
Yeah, it mostly answers it, Viral. Cool. Let's go ahead. Investment amount to be on cap table. So cap table is a minimum of 50 lakhs via the fund route. I think the link has been shared. Uh, Anita's question is if GPS is weaponized or hacked into for any reason, how will the maneuvering happen?
Sorry, come again. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So next question, which is the different one, which is not yet covered, is if GPS is weaponized or hacked into for any reason, how will the maneuvering happen?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have not come across GPS hacking. There are spoofing amount of things which have happened in certain ways. We use three GPS, and it keeps on turning as a primary and tertiary, secondary and tertiary, and depending on if the primary GPS is not functional or have been hacked or giving the wrong data, it's basically switching to the secondary and tertiary. And that's how so far we have been safeguarding on that particular line. Uh, and because it's not that the system is taking the navigation data from one GPS, it's triangulating and looking into the balance of the three so that it's flying in a 10-meter wide air corridor. and it's not moving out of the 10-meter wide air corridor. In case there is any element of spoofing which is basically triggered in one of the GPS which is not working, the system automatically gets the drone to trigger auto landing in that particular area, whichever is the nearest position over there, which is there, where it can trigger an auto landing, and it sends a command to the command center in that particular line. Parallelly, what we are trying to work around is GPS denied environment to basically the stuff like I mean, one of the things that we're trying to work around is how a drone can navigate in a GPS denied environment without the need or even if the GPS is hacked or spoofed or anything for that matter. And those are, I think, work in progress for our end at this point of time. We don't have a concrete answer or solution to that right now, but we haven't come across any amount of these things yet. But we bake in a fail-safe, which is there, which I just spoke about.
Yeah, I think 3 levels of GPS tracking, being is quite difficult to hack into like 3 different systems at once. Cool. I think Krishna's another question was, what is the payload capacity and range?
The payload capacity is 10 kilos in deadweight and 21 liters in volumetric. Uh, and the range that the battery is providing is about 30 kilometers.
Got it. I think rest of the follow-up questions after this were on the previous round. So I think folks who were asking, Munir, Sai Shrikant, Ganesh, Arjun, I think I've answered those on the chat, summarized it, and also shared the investors on board. Leela's question has also been answered, utilization and via the fund. So I think we've covered most of, I mean, all the questions, in fact, on the chat. So if there are any final set of questions, if anyone wants to unmute and ask, please raise your hand. I'll allow you to unmute. Cool. I think that should be it. I think we've had a extensive set of questions coming up in the chat, and I think there were a bunch of detailed ones from another Ankit, which I will share with you over email, and have you or your team revert to those. But yeah, I think thanks Ankit for taking the time out and pitching to us. Looking forward to be part of the growth story of Skye Air, and thanks Viral as well for joining. And thanks everyone for joining on a weekday evening. Looking forward to having you all be part of the growth story of Skye Air.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.